The plane crash didn't feel real at first. It felt like a nightmare I would wake up from drenched in sweat. One moment I was typing half asleep on my laptop while my boss, Olivia Hale, reviewed quarterly reports beside me, and the next, alarms, oxygen masks, people screaming, the world tilting sideways. Gravity didn't care about job titles. The plane went down and we went with it. When I came to, I was lying on a beach that didn't exist on any map I'd ever seen. The sand was too white, the water too blue, too peaceful for a place that had just been the grave of almost everyone on board. I pushed myself up, coughing painfully. My clothes were soaked, my arm was bleeding, my head spinning. And then I heard coughing behind a rock. I stumbled over and found her, my boss, sitting upright, shaking but alive. Her blouse torn, hair tangled with salt water and leaves, mascara smudged across her cheeks, but her eyes were open. "Daniel," she whispered, voice cracking. I dropped to my knees beside her. "I'm here, I'm right here." She exhaled like she had been holding her breath for hours. "Everyone else," I shook my head. She closed her eyes, tears slipping free. We were the only two left. The first night was brutal. We were cold, drenched, bruised, and terrified. We had nothing except scraps from the wreckage, some seats, some plastic, and a metal panel we used as shelter. She tried to stay strong, but every time thunder cracked, she flinched and gripped my arm. "What if no one finds us?" she asked, more scared than I'd ever heard her. "They will," I said, "I promise." But I didn't believe it. Days passed. We found coconuts. We learned how to crack them open. We built a fire. We slept shoulder to shoulder because the nights were too cold to survive apart. The more time passed, the less she acted like my boss and the more she acted like someone who trusted me with her life. One night, under the dim flicker of firelight, she whispered, "I keep thinking about the last thing I said before the plane went down." "What was it?" "I told you to rewrite a report," she laughed softly. "If I had known it might be my last moment, I would have said something else." I looked at her. "What would you have said?" She hesitated. "Stay close, don't leave." I felt that more deeply than I should have. Weeks turned into months. We weren't just surviving, we were living, fishing, exploring. Talking for hours. She told me secrets she'd never shared with anyone, how lonely she was, how much pressure she lived under, how tired she felt pretending to be perfect. And the more she opened up, the more I realized how much I cared about her. Sometimes she'd lean her head against my shoulder while we watched the sun set. Sometimes she'd fall asleep with her hand on my arm. Sometimes she'd look at me like she was memorizing me. Then came the storm, the worst we'd seen. The wind tore down our shelter. Rain blinded us. Lightning lit up the sky like a warning. We ran to a cave, holding each other's hands so tightly our fingers turned white. Inside, shivering, soaked, terrified, she suddenly pressed her forehead against my chest. "Daniel, I'm scared." I wrapped my arms around her. "I've got you. I won't let anything happen to you." She looked up at me. "You're the only thing that feels safe." And in that moment, with the storm howling outside like the world was ending, she kissed me. It wasn't a small kiss. It was desperate, shaking, overflowing with everything we had buried for months. And once it started, there was no going back. We became something more that night, something real, something impossible to ignore. When the storm cleared, nothing was the same. We were inseparable after that. We spoke openly. We laughed more. We held hands while collecting firewood. We slept wrapped around each other every night, not because of cold, because we wanted to. 6 months after the crash, she woke up one morning looking pale, quiet, nervous. She took my hand. "Daniel, what's wrong?" She swallowed hard. "I think I'm pregnant." Everything in me stopped. The air, my heartbeat, my thoughts. She looked terrified, expecting me to panic, but I didn't. I cupped her face. "We'll do this together." She broke down crying, burying her face in my chest. The following months were a strange mix of fear and happiness. I built a better shelter. I hunted, gathered fruit, protected her from everything I could. She started glowing, laughing, holding her stomach with both hands whenever she felt a kick. "I never imagined my first child would come from this," she admitted once, lying beside me under the stars. "I never imagined my life would feel complete on an island," I answered. And then one morning, after almost a year on that island, a boat appeared. We were rescued. People cried when they saw us. The world assumed we had died. Reporters swarmed us. Her company tried to shield her, but she held onto my hand like she would drown without it. A month later, our daughter was born. She was tiny, perfect, and loud enough to announce her existence to everyone. Olivia held her close, tears in her eyes. "She's ours," she whispered. "She's everything we survived for." We moved in together because it felt wrong not to. The island had bonded us in a way no one else understood. Our daughter grew quickly, tiny fists, big eyes, always clinging to my shirt. Life felt soft, warm, whole. Then one evening when I was rocking our daughter to sleep, Olivia stood in the doorway, arms crossed, a strange smile on her lips. "Daniel, yeah, she's almost a year old now." "I know," I said, smiling. "She grew too fast. She needs a sibling." I froze. "What?" She walked closer, voice dropping. "You heard me." I blinked at her. "Are you serious?" She wrapped her arms around my waist from behind and whispered against my back, "Have another one." My brain shut down completely. "Another baby? Why not?" she said softly. "We already survived the hardest things two people can survive, and look at this little miracle we made." I looked down at our daughter sleeping in my arms, then up at the woman who had gone from my boss to my partner to the mother of my child. "Are you sure?" I whispered. She kissed the back of my neck. "I want a family with you, a bigger one." I laughed breathlessly. "You're going to kill me," she smirked. "Not before I get my second baby." And just like that, the island wasn't the most unbelievable part of our story anymore. What came after was a life, a family, a future with her. Forever.